The pot roast had gone cold, but my mother kept refilling wine glasses as if that might warm the room. My brother Mike certainly didn't need the help, he was already in full performance mode. I mean, come on, he said, flicking his fork through the air. A smart collar that tracks a pet's emotions? That's the dumbest idea I've heard all year. I pushed my peas around my plate. My name is Sophie Chen, I'm 29 years old, and I sold my pet tech company, PawPrint AI, to Google yesterday for $4.2 billion. No one at this table knew that yet. It's not just emotional tracking, I said evenly. The AI can predict health issues before they turn serious. It saves lives. Mike laughed and leaned back in his chair. Sure it does. And how many of these miracle collars have you actually sold? I took a slow sip of water, thinking about the NDA sitting in my laptop bag. The deal wouldn't be public until morning, but the numbers were already locked in. 12 million units sold last year alone, with demand still outpacing supply. Sales are good, I said. Good, Mike snorted. Is that why you still drive that junky Honda and live in a shoebox apartment? Sophie, you should have stayed in investment banking. At least then you'd have something to show for all those perfect grades. My father shifted in his seat. Mike, maybe that's enough. No, Mike cut in. Someone has to be honest. She walked away from a six-figure career to tinker in a garage. It's embarrassing. The garage, of course, was a fully staffed RD campus with 50 engineers quietly rewriting the future of veterinary medicine. Mike had never visited. He'd never asked. I smiled faintly. How's your merger coming along? His expression tightened. Fine. There are complications, but we're handling it. What he didn't know was that I knew exactly why the deal was collapsing. During acquisition talks, I'd seen the industry from the inside. His bank was trying to absorb a failing institution stuffed with bad assets and creative accounting. The fallout was inevitable. I'm sure you are, I said, cutting into the pot roast. 3 years ago, when I left banking to start PawPrint, Mike had been my loudest critic. Banking is real business, he'd said. Your pet project is a waste of your education. What he never understood was that banking had trained me perfectly. I'd seen how slow, bloated industries ignored innovation until it ate them alive. While Mike shuffled spreadsheets, I built something real. The idea came from my cat, Luna. By the time I realized she was sick, it was too late. Cancer. Aggressive. Silent. If only I'd known sooner. If only there had been a way to read the signals her body gave long before symptoms showed. Pets can't tell us when something's wrong, but data can. That realization built PawPrint. Sophie, my mother said gently, pulling me back. Maybe Mike's right. You're almost 30. And that apartment? I thought about the oceanfront house I'd just bought in Malibu. Cash. Keys waiting. I like my apartment. Mom, I said, it's close to work. Mike laughed again. Work? You mean your little pet thing? Even my junior analysts make more than you. If only he knew his entire bank was worth less than my little pet thing. Tomorrow, every major outlet would run the headline. Google acquires PawPrint AI in $4.2 billion landmark deal. But tonight, I just smiled. Can you pass the gravy? After dinner, my phone buzzed. David, lead engineer, press release is locked. Still not telling your family? I glanced at Mike, now bragging about his new luxury car. Me, some surprises are better served hot. Dad caught me in the kitchen. You okay? Mike was, a lot. I'm fine, I said softly. You might want to watch the business news tomorrow morning. He studied me, then smiled. Dad had always trusted my instincts. Driving home in my old Honda, the last car Luna ever rode in, I felt calm. Tomorrow would change everything, but the money wasn't the point. Validation was. Another buzz. Sarah Kim, attorney paperwork finalized. Also, Mike's merger just triggered a regulatory review. I smiled. The next morning, my phone lit up before sunrise. CNBC, Bloomberg, Reuters. I turned on the TV and waited. At 7:45 a.m., my face appeared on screen beside the headline. Mom called first, then Dad. Mike didn't. At PawPrint HQ, my team celebrated, engineers crying, hugging, realizing their equity had just changed their lives. My assistant hurried over. Ms. Chen, your brother's bank is asking to speak with you. They want to discuss opportunities. I smiled. Tell them to call Google. We're a subsidiary now. 3 years ago, Mike's bank laughed me out of their office. Now they were begging for access. But some doors only open once. And that one was closed. The acquisition hit the wires before noon. By the time the market opened, PawPrint AI was everywhere, and so was the other headline. The merger Mike had been championing was unraveling in real time. The target company's books were far worse than anyone had disclosed. By early afternoon, his bank's stock was in freefall. Just after lunch, my mother appeared at the office. Her eyes were red when she hugged me. Why didn't you tell us? She whispered. All this time, we thought you. Thought what? Mom? I asked gently. That I was failing? That Mike was right about me wasting my potential? She looked away. We were worried. You worked so hard, lived so simply. You could have had such an easy life if you'd stayed in banking. I didn't argue. I just showed her. The labs, the engineers, the prototype walls, the framed letters from pet owners whose animals were still alive because our system caught something a human I couldn't. I am comfortable, I said as we stopped in front of one of the letters. I've been comfortable for a long time. I just didn't need to advertise it. My phone buzzed. Mike. I let it go to voicemail. That afternoon, I met with Google's executive team for the first time as a partner. Not a pitch. Expansion plans, global rollout. My role going forward, head of an entirely new pet technology division, with budget, autonomy, and a mandate to move fast. When I left the campus, Mike's voicemail finally played. Sophie, we need to talk. The merger, it's bad. Everyone's talking about your exit. Maybe you could help. Say something to the right people. I laughed once, quietly. When I got home, he was waiting in my building's lobby. You're still my emergency contact, he said, already defensive. That's changing, I replied. He followed me into the elevator. My career is on the line. The deal's collapsing. The board's panicking. And you, he swallowed. You're suddenly Silicon Valley royalty. You have to help me. I turned to him. Have to? Like you had to mock my work? Like you had to tell everyone I was throwing my life away? I was wrong, he snapped. Fine. You win. You're brilliant. You're rich. Now help me. The elevator opened. No, I said, stepping out. Because this isn't about winning. It's about respect. You never had any for me, only for outcomes that benefited you. He stared at me. So that's it? That's it. Good luck with the merger. I hear Google's corp dev team takes due diligence very seriously. I closed the door on his protests. That night, the headlines kept coming. Youngest self-made female billionaire. Cover stories. Speaking requests. But the message that stopped me cold came from Ohio. Your device caught my dog's heart condition months early. The vet said we would have lost him if we'd waited. Thank you for giving us more time. That was the win. 2 months later, I watched the sun dip into the Pacific from my new home in Malibu. Modern, quiet, purposeful. One room held Luna's things. One wall held letters like that one. My phone buzzed. Mike, the merger's dead. Board meeting tomorrow. Leadership changes. I need your help. I set the phone down. The doorbell rang. Mom and Dad. Mom covered her mouth when she stepped inside. Dad went straight to the wall of letters, reading silently. These matter more than the money, he said. They do, I replied. At dinner, Mom finally asked, Mike's in real trouble, isn't he? He put himself there. But you could help. Mom, I said calmly. Last Christmas, he spent the entire night telling everyone I'd never succeed. At the time, I was already finalizing the Google deal. I stayed quiet because I wanted to know who he was when he thought I had nothing to offer. The next morning, I walked into Mike's bank, not to save him, but because Google was evaluating distressed tech assets. Mike looked exhausted when he saw me. Thank God. I'm here as an acquirer, I said. Nothing more. The board meeting was brief. Their tech was flashy and hollow. I asked questions Mike couldn't answer. I exposed shortcuts he didn't understand. Afterward, Dad waited by my car. You were hard on him. I was honest. I said. That's different. That evening, another message from Mike appeared. I'm sorry, not because I was wrong, but because I hurt you. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Coffee tomorrow, I typed back. My office. Because real success isn't about humiliation or revenge. It's about building something that matters and deciding, on your own terms, who gets a second chance. I glanced at Luna's old collar on my desk, now fitted with the newest PawPrint tech. She didn't live to see it. But thousands of others would. And that was everything.